Hello, friends. It is, Thursday night already. Wow, how did that happen? I got on here on Monday and started talking about apologies and children struggling with being hesitant to apologize. And I had some more thoughts, and I've been meaning to get on ever since Monday night. And I just finally had a chance. So here I am. Hi, guys. Let me flip the camera around. Hello. Hello, everybody. So my name is Lena Sutherland. I'm a homeschool mom of 7. 4 of them are school-aged, and 3 of them are preschool toddler-sized. Howdy. And I blog over at homeschoolingwithoutthetrainingwheels.blogspot.com, although I'm kind of getting the itch to hop over to WordPress, so I've been doing a little research about that, talking to a friend about that tonight. So, how's everybody doing? In here in Virginia, and not in my house, but here in Virginia, it is raining. So if you hear a funny noise, it's because in our schoolroom, we have skylights, and the rain is hitting the skylights. So I'm sitting in the dining room tonight, hoping that I can minimize the noise from the schoolroom. But anyway, it's pretty noisy. So we'll see. Hopefully you guys can still hear. So I'm talking a little bit more tonight about apologies. And one of the things that I was thinking about is that, when I was scoped on Monday, one of the things I talked about is that one of the reasons kids don't want to apologize, or one of the things that makes them hesitant to apologize, is that they have a fear, that if I say I'm sorry for what I did, then my sibling is going to get away with what they did, and there won't be justice, or their issues won't be addressed. And, so we talked some about that. If you want to go back and watch that, it's on my YouTube channel. But what I wanted to talk about tonight is going a little deeper. What's underneath why we don't apologize? And if you're interested, invite your followers. And this will be on here hopefully for longer than 24 hours because I tried out that new hashtag save. So we'll see what happens. I don't know how long they're saving scopes now, but anyway. Okay, so one of the reasons, of course, that we don't want to apologize is that we don't want to admit we're wrong. I mean, it's kind of obvious that, we feel embarrassed about doing something, and we don't want to have to admit that we did anything wrong. And there's kind of 3 levels at which I want to think about this, and here they are. So the first level is just kind of the most surface level, just human interaction-wise, and that is that if you've done something that hurt people, and you've done something that was, wrong, or you've offended somebody, then kind of think of it like this. It's like you have some food on your face, okay? So everybody around you can already see that you have food on your face. So the moment at which something happened that was a little embarrassing to you was when you did or said that thing that was hurtful to people. So when we don't want to apologize, it's kind of like we're walking around with food on our face, and we don't want to admit that we have food on our face. So failing to admit it doesn't actually keep us from looking silly. It actually makes us look more silly because probably everybody around us can already see that we have this problem, that we have this struggle, and we're the only ones who won't admit it, right? So it's like walking around with food on your face that you won't admit is there. So just from a basic human interaction level, refusing to apologize or failing to admit that you need to apologize usually doesn't save your reputation. Now, I know sometimes there's, discrepancies about whether anything was done wrong, and I'm just talking about what I've observed with my children. Somebody's done something wrong and they don't want to apologize. Most of the time, everybody around them can see that they're wrong. The only one that can't see it is the one who doesn't want to apologize. And so I've talked to my kids about this, that yes, it's embarrassing to admit that you're wrong, but it's more embarrassing for everybody to see that you were wrong and then you just, wouldn't admit that you were wrong. And so just from a purely human interaction level, that's one thing to help them to think about. Okay, the next thing to help them to think about, and this is, I mean, really all of these things are things that you're going to think about over and over throughout the course of your life, and we remember these things and then we forget them, or we know that they're true, but then we don't remember them like in the moment when things heat up and it's difficult, right? So level 2 goes a little deeper, and that is that if we really believe what we say about ourselves, then apologizing shouldn't be as painful as it is. So, for example, we're constantly saying, like, I'm just a human being, I'm not perfect, I'm a sinner, I have struggles, however you might phrase that. You're saying about yourself, I'm not perfect, I don't think I'm perfect. And so when a moment comes up when you might need to apologize for something, really all that is just kind of tangible evidence of what you've said all along. You've said all along that you're not perfect. You've said all along that you have struggles, that you have weaknesses. So when you find something that you need to apologize for, it doesn't have to be so shocking. It doesn't need to be like it's going to be a game changer. It should be like, oh, right, well, this is what I've always said, so I shouldn't be so surprised to find that here's some examples of it. I remember one time we'd had a women's group at our church on a Tuesday morning, and there had been some good discussion, but it was kind of some rousing good discussion. And that evening, I happened to be at the home of one of the other ladies, and her husband was he's an elder in our church, and he said, "So, I heard something about what you said at the women's discussion this morning," and I got really nervous, like this knot in the pit of my stomach, because I thought, oh no, what is he going to say? And what if he didn't understand? And what if he's going to misrepresent me? And what if he, it was just made me really nervous. And, it must have been grace because, uncharacteristically for me, I just started thinking, okay, so what if I did something wrong? That doesn't have to be so shocking. I know that I'm not perfect, so it doesn't have to blow me away to find out that I did something wrong or hurtful or unhelpful. And if I did something wrong, and if other people saw that I did something wrong, wouldn't I want to know it? Wouldn't I want to be able to do something about it rather than like walk around with food on my face and everybody else sees it, but I don't know it's there, so I can't do anything about it. So, to help our children realize that if they really believe what they say when they say, I'm not perfect, I have struggles, I have weaknesses, then finding a particular example of that doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It's still in line with what we say is true. And then the third, deepest level and the most, the one that we all are continually struggling to keep in mind is, deep down, the reason that we don't want to apologize, the reason that we don't want to say we're sorry for something is because we all really believe that our goodness is dependent on our own record, right? So we all really, seriously, when I talk to my children about this and I say, why are you afraid to apologize? What does that feel like to you? They've all described something like, it feels like I'm losing ground. It feels like I'm slipping down, like I've worked hard to climb up this ladder and I'm sliding back down when I apologize. I'm losing work that I've put in. And I'm not saying that it isn't important to establish a good reputation and to be trustworthy and all that, but it all goes back to, right at the root of it is, where is our ultimate hope? Where is our ultimate, satisfaction? Where do we look for our, our righteousness, essentially? And, in our home, in a Christian home, hopefully the message is to our children that ultimately our righteousness is not in our own works. It's in the finished work of Christ. So you can wake up and have a bad day, and Christ's righteousness is sufficient for you. You can wake up and have a day that to you feels like a good day, and still your righteousness is based on what Christ did when he paid for you for your sins on the cross. And so that's something that, it's hard to remember. Like, I have to continually be reminded of that. My children have to be continually reminded of that. So it's not one of these little, quick fixes like, oh, just tell your children this little story or explain this to them or set up this rule in your household and then you won't have this problem anymore. But so while it hasn't been a quick fix, it has really been helpful to me to see how often really just being reminded of the gospel is what is right at the heart of my children struggling to apologize. again, it's not a quick fix. It doesn't make all the problems go away, but it has really been kind of beautiful and encouraging to realize that the same message that I need to hear all the time, every day, that Christ is sufficient for my weaknesses, for my sins, is the same message that our children need to hear over and over and over and over and over, lovingly, over and over and over. But we all need to be reminded of that. And so every time somebody in our household needs to apologize, there's an opportunity right there, a gospel opportunity to be reminded of what we believe about ourselves and what we believe about where our righteousness comes from. Super encouraging, and something that it's really a blessing to have to be thinking about again and again every day. So, all right, that's all I had to share this evening. Hope you guys are having a lovely Thursday evening, and I'll catch up with some of y'all later on. Thanks, Forrest. Catch you later.